Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, Adam here, and you're about to listen to a hypnosis session all about triggers. And the client that I was working with had certain triggers that would make them annoyed, make them frustrated. And a lot of these triggers were noise. So loud sounds like sirens and big heavy trucks, but also things that were like clutter, mess, that would really kind of annoy them. So what you're going to hear in this particular hypnosis session is the ability to shift their ability to choose what they focus on. And you get this weird paradox sometimes that for some people that are triggered by certain things, they end up looking for those things unconsciously because they don't like them. And this happens more than you would think. You know, I work with phobics all the time. If someone is afraid of birds or afraid of dogs, they end up scanning everywhere, looking for birds and dogs wherever they go, even though in their mind, that's the thing that makes them on edge or anxious. Now, for this client, it wasn't about anxiety, it was about annoyance and in particular noises. But the interesting thing about the human mind is that you can only focus on about 7 chunks of information there or thereabouts at any one point in time. And you've probably met someone who lives near a motorway or a railway line, and you're noticing the traffic or the trains all the time. But for them, it's become background noise. It's become invisible to them. So the ability to focus on things that actually can change your state is a very useful skill. And there's even a metaphor in here about how it would be more impressive for a monk to meditate in a noisy environment than it would be in a very quiet, peaceful environment. That actually the challenge is what leads to the skill in that particular area. So if there are things that annoy you, and it may not be things like sirens and noises like traffic, but replace whatever the triggers are in this hypnosis session for whatever specifically triggers you, and almost treat this hypnosis session like brain training, that you're putting yourself in a situation that we're inviting the annoying triggers to come up, but for you to stay in that calm, relaxed, composed state. So enjoy this session, but equally, if you do want something a bit more bespoke to your specific circumstances, have a look in the description for a link where you can either do a suitability test to figure out if you would be a good candidate for hypnotherapy, or to book a free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that long, slow, relaxing breath. And as you exhale, feel a wonderful sense of release, as it feels like any sensation of tension or worry is starting to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. And maybe if you scan your body, there might be an echo of tension or even an annoyance manifesting itself somewhere in your body. And that may be a tightness in the neck or the shoulders, in the jaw. I want you to get a sense that sometimes all it takes to release is to notice. So almost imagine scanning your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And if you could identify a clue, a physical echo of an unpleasant emotion, unnecessary, just imagine that the moment you find it, you give it permission to be released. So that sensation melts away. And you could imagine each time you release a sensation, a feeling, you create a wonderful opportunity for a more resourceful feeling to take its place. What if you replace tension with relaxation, stress with calm? I wonder what would happen if a worry is replaced with a wonderful feeling of optimism. Just imagine the best yawn you've ever had. There's something about even imagining a yawn that seems to feel drowsy and relaxed, calm and effortless. So as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine a field under blue skies, surrounded by trees. And I want you to imagine off in the distance you can see the steeple of a church. And I want you to focus on the sensation of a breeze naturally and in a relaxed way, giving you the sensation of that breeze on your skin. And maybe there's sunshine and you can feel the warmth of that sunshine on your skin. But I want you to focus your attention on the sound of that breeze as it goes through leaves in the surrounding trees. The sound of the breeze in the trees almost has a magical effect, like a spell on you, melting away tension and enabling you to feel even deeper relaxed. And in the same trees where the leaves are making that particular sound, I want you to imagine there is different species of songbird, and they sound cheerful and playful. And just imagine the songbirds and the leaves and the breeze. And then imagine hearing church bells there in the distance. And all of these sounds take you deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to get a sense that sometimes it could be a sound or a smell or just the way something looks that triggers a feeling, an emotion within you. And that just means you're human. For many people, the smell of a flower makes them feel cozy and warm. And sometimes the sound of certain music helps them drift into a place of pure relaxation and imagination. But sometimes, what may trigger an emotion for you creates a different emotion for someone else. And just because something happens to create that feeling doesn't mean that it can't change. And as you look out on this field of grass, under the sunshine, there in the middle of that breeze, I want you to imagine seeing a small rabbit. The rabbit has seen you, and you've seen the rabbit. But I want you to imagine that the rabbit has a strategy. The rabbit accepts there is an intruder on the field that it calls home. But the rabbit has learned that no one stays on the field for too long. You are like a cloud blowing through the sky, or a leaf on a stream. You are temporary. So the rabbit accepts that even though it may not want you there, you are there, but very soon you will not be. So all the rabbit needs to do is nothing at all. Just wait. And before long you'll be gone. And the rabbit gets to return to doing whatever it wants to do. But if the rabbit was furious that someone else was on the field that it calls home, that wouldn't change anything for the rabbit other than its own emotions. The rabbit would just be stressed and annoyed and upset and maybe even furious. But the rabbit isn't that way. The rabbit is just patiently waiting for you to go. And in doing so, teaches you a very valuable lesson in acceptance. Because if you can become annoyed, you are giving your power away. The rabbit didn't give its power away to you. So why would you give your power to a siren, to a truck? Why would you give your power away to some crying baby? You being annoyed doesn't change anything for the baby. A siren won't suddenly go silent because you're annoyed by the sound. want you to get a sense that you've been playing the wrong game. You've been feeding the flames of your annoyance rather than shifting your attention elsewhere. And what if the sounds that used to annoy you become a training ground, a boot camp, a way to make you feel even more patient and accepting than ever before? I want you to imagine there you are on that field, surrounded by the breeze and the trees and the songbirds and the church bells. But I want you to imagine, for some reason, a police car approaches a nearby road with a siren. And now you have a choice. You can focus your attention on the siren and become annoyed, or you could choose to make the siren background noise, to focus instead on the breeze, the trees, the birds and the bells. And I wonder if you can do that now, to accept that the siren is there, but choose to focus your attention on something else. And then keep the siren there. And then I want you to introduce a fleet of trucks noisily intruding on this peaceful sound surrounding the field. There is now a police siren and loud, heavy trucks. But you can choose to focus your attention on the heavy trucks and the siren, or hone in on the sound of those church bells, those birds, or the leaves rustling in the trees. You can focus on the breeze on your skin, or the warmth of the sun, or even imagine putting your fingers on your temple or your wrist and noticing the sound and rhythm of your own pulse. I want you to feel that annoyance is a choice, and every time you choose to focus your attention on something else of your choosing, you are saying yes to more peace, yes to more empowerment, and yes to more patience. Allow yourself to feel like it's a choice. What if every one of those annoying sounds of your past becomes a teacher, teaching you to become more patient, more accepting, and more in control of your own emotions? I want you to think of someone that was addicted to pastries and cakes. I want you to wonder how disciplined they are if they never ever see a cake or a pastry. True discipline is seeing the cake or the pastry and choosing not to eat it even though they could. And if that's possible for someone to choose not to eat a pastry, then it's possible for you not to choose to allow a sound to annoy you. I want you to imagine now on this large field, seeing one of those big trucks dump a pile of rubbish right there on that field surrounded by nature. The pile of rubbish represents 1% of that field. And if you only focused on the pile of rubbish, you could feel annoyed. Or you could accept that it's there and choose to look at the endless grass and trees and plants and flowers around you. I want you to feel like you are unlocking a new ability, a new level of resilience, patience, and mental fortitude. That the sounds that used to annoy you will empower you to be more peaceful and patient than ever before. Because what is more impressive? The monk meditating in a quiet temple, or the monk that can meditate in the middle of a heavy metal concert? The more impressive thing is the one that requires more control over focus, attention, and to choose to claim the power rather than give it away. I want you to imagine now, in addition to the siren and the traffic noise, there is now 10 babies and toddlers crying and whining. And that could annoy almost anyone. But for you, you trust that the parents of these children will take them away. Like the rabbit, you deem any of these sounds as temporary and manageable. You bide your time and choose to focus on things that make you feel spacious and liberated, and not restricted and confined. And from this point onwards, annoying sounds become training at altitude, a way to increase your patience, increase your peace, and increase your resilience. You no longer are bothered by them. You are strengthened and empowered by them, because you have the power of choice. The choice of what things mean, what to focus on, but also what to do with your time and your energy. Because if you really didn't want to hear these sirens and traffic and children, why not use those legs and just walk somewhere else? Not in an annoyed, frustrated, bothered way, but from the perspective of a game of chess. Moves and counter moves. If knowing what you now know, you would rather be somewhere else, choose to be somewhere else because you choose it. This isn't an annoyed reaction. It is a measured response, an empowered choice that moves you forward, not chains you to something that will disturb your peace. So imagine all of those sounds around you and choose to focus on the church bells, the breeze, the birds and the branches. And in doing so, you figured it out. Where focus goes, energy flows. And the only one in control of your focus is you. And as you hold that thought, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.